an academic. I started teaching only here 15 months. I am a banker, 34 years of banking experience. Started with Philippine National Bank. Anybody from PNB? No? Then I worked in Hong Kong for 4 months. Finally went to Vancouver, Business Development Bank of Canada, where I worked there for 22 and a half years. So I retired from banking, joined AIM 15 months ago. And in between that, just to show that it's never too late to pursue education between 2010, 50 years old, to 2014, 54 years old, I did my PhD at the University of St. Gallen. I did 15 trips from Vancouver to Switzerland while working full-time as regional director at the Business Development Bank of Canada. So when students complain to me about how difficult the MBA and executive program is, it doesn't sell, right? Because I did 15 trips while working full-time. So, so at the age of 50 to 54. So it doesn't sell. Okay? And the topic that we are talking about right now, I have a personal, BDC is one of those sustainable banks that they practice really environmental and social analysis. And of course, my dissertation topic was on sustainable finance. One thing about AIM, and what I've learned also in my PhD program, at St. Gallen, I had classmates because we attend class at the start of the semester, then come back at the end of the semester. So I have classmates flying in from the US, Austria, France, Russia, Kenya, Brazil, Colombia, Turkey. So can you imagine the classroom, the discussion? Can you imagine that, right? It's a class from 8 to 6. Half of us are jet lagged, but we're able to survive because of the rigor and the discussion. That they said, yes? That is work in progress. We are also in discussion with them. Just to share with you, to the best of my knowledge, it doesn't, because the banks are saying this here, or we want standards from BSP. To the best of my knowledge, around the world, that doesn't exist. The banks who are doing this around the world are doing it on their own, without interference from their central bank, like the Netherlands. To the best of my knowledge, the bank in Canada does it. The bank that I work for, yes, yes. In Canada, it's driven by environmental law, because in Canada, if I had to lend that, if I was the banker for one of those hotels in Boracay, I would, if you remember, notice, nobody has been held liable for the cleanup cost in Boracay. In Canada, the company would have been held liable. The hotel would have been held liable for the cleanup. The bank who financed that hotel will be held liable for the cleanup. So that is reputational risk. The business case for sustainable banking is not really just about environment. The business case is just like what happened in Boracay. If I had a hotel there, shut down for 6 months, will they be able to pay my loan now? Shut down for 6 months. If they'll be held liable for the payment of the cleanup, it will impact again their viability, their cash flow. The value of my security, if I took a charge on that hotel in Boracay, if I have to sell it, what is the value of that hotel now? If it has to fix its sewage system and all of that, if they have to pay for the cleanup cost. And lastly, it's reputational risk. So far, nobody is exposed who are the lenders to these properties in Boracay and Manila Bay. Okay, so now we have RCBC. Again, yes?
Percentage of their loan portfolio provided to MSMEs, agri-agri, and more logistics and transportation. So it also is parallel to going more sustainable.
Yes, thank you. Actually, DBP and Land Bank they are also ahead of the ball game, but it's natural because it's government bank, right? So they have done this before. I have to admit, I have to recognize DBP and Land Bank have implemented this. RCBC is the first private bank to do this. Thank you. Any other questions? So next step, we're trying. That's why we're trying to put this together, a roadmap on for the Philippines. Hopefully, again, I go back to it's the new language of business. It's not only about banking. No, it's also sustainability. I'm not sure if your companies are in this direction, but it's also happening, right? It's all in the private sector. Uh, Publicly listed companies in the Philippines will be required to do sustainability reporting starting this year. For the first 2 years, it will be like a trial. After that, it will be mandatory. Again, you have to. That's why we are teaching this. We are this is my crusade because there is also a business case. Publicly listed companies will have to start looking at their sustainability performance because they have to report it now as a pub. I think in South Africa it's already required for all publicly listed companies. Yes. 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 So sustainability reporting. I hope we have time to discuss. You can actually there is an accreditation for that. So if you're the future of financial reporting, just financial statements, that's almost dead now. It's now there is a phenomenon to integrate financial reporting and sustainability reporting. Any CPAs? Any CPAs here? So time to evolve. CPA Canada. I am a member of CPA Canada. We're actually being positioned as climate change advisors. Because if for companies to become ready for climate change, all these innovations in operations and products, you should be able to translate that into numbers. So it's actually that even CPA Canada is looking at that market, a new niche. Big accounting firms have sustainability practices. If you look at the even SGV, PwC, because they found a new revenue, a source of revenue for because sustainability is actually really becoming a big thing. This is how it looks. No? If you're a numbers person, some companies, this is Export Development Corporation. That's it's a financial institution in Canada. So they actually, if you like numbers, they actually monitor everything to make sure that you actually practice what you preach. And why would a company do this? What is the reason for? What is the business case? If you start monitoring even your business travel, your paper consumption. Okay, who are the finance people here? What is the outcome of this? Cost reduction. Who said it? Cost reduction and profitability, right? Yeah, that's why people say, well, this is expensive. No, actually, there is money to be made. That's why the more progressive companies have recognized this. That is in Canada. This is BPI. Something similar. Again, it's a switch. The Philippines. This is from the, I guess, from the website of BPI. So look at this, even water consumption per branch. Yeah, I had a BPI employee told me that they stop drinking water in their branch so that they can meet the targets. So you can see now, it is even used for performance measurement. Oops. Even, of course, the real estate business is also into sustainability. That's Lamudi. It's if you're familiar with Lamudi in the Philippines, they asked me to be a moderator for a discussion on sustainability. We have if you're familiar with LEED, that's yeah, what does it stand for? Leadership, efficiency, and environmental design. Something. Lead companies are energy efficient companies. We have our own local Verde, of course. The Philippines comes up with a green acronym. The human side, the people side, the people side of the triple bottom line. I finally have an example. Human Nature, you're familiar with this company. They actually, this concept of living wage. They pay a living wage. Finally, I have a local example because there is this argument about if you pay your employees more than the minimum wage, and that is called a living wage. There's no real percentage for human nature. It's 70% above the minimum wage. If you have happier employees, loyal employees, more productive employees, and all of that. That again, that is the people side of the triple bottom line. Imperial Homes, they sell homes with solar panels, low cost. These are low cost. I thought it was high end, but no, it's actually low cost. Oh, no, just one example. Aldos, I always like this example, just to show you where sustainability has really reached. I bought a pair of shoes in Vancouver, though not here. I was given the box, was waiting for the plastic bag, the paper bag, and then they pulled out the string. What is the impact of that? That it's not simple, actually, it's brilliant, right? Yes. Waste reduction. And then leading to? There you go. There you go, right? That's what, yes. Yeah, I walk around Vancouver with that. Eh? Yeah, and I've been talking about this for many months now. Yeah, but I bought a pair of shoes in Aldo here. They didn't have the same. Yeah. But then I went to yeah, the PR effect is big, right? I went to the website, sustainable packaging, learn something new. No, it's not just about finance, it's operations, it's marketing, all of that come together. Again, that's what we teach here, right? Because you have to change the mindset. They say that if you start looking at your business from a sustainability lens, there are cost reductions, PR effect, better profit, bigger revenue, better profit, good reputation. So that's why companies like Unilever really ahead of the ballgame on sustainability, because they see the value of doing it. It is possible to be profitable at the same time environmentally and socially responsible. Hotels, my favorite example. Remember those shampoo cartridges that we love to take home? Okay. Okay. Many hotels now, they don't have those because those are very difficult to recycle. It's now these containers, right? If you notice, again, I'm sure there is a financial aspect to it. Of course, one student told me, "Sir, I just bring a bottle and I steal all the shampoo." Never win, eh? Okay. Last topic, feature of financial reporting. No, if you're going to become, yes. Okay. Okay. Normally the terms and conditions are the same, but like the bank that I work for, which is we actually that is part of our pricing formula. So a more responsible, environmentally responsible company will have a lower price. It is part of the pricing formula. Here at the Philippines, they haven't. We're trying to do that. I'm helping them trying to do that, so that you reward positive. Positive reinforcement, right? And you penalize bad behavior by charging them a higher rate.
So I have a question regarding that. So it's actually bearing the cost of like the additional cost, for example, the transaction cost. Because if you lend someone, then you would have to follow up, right? You have to make sure that they're putting their money into who is bearing that cost, that additional cost.
The bank would have the monitoring will be, of course, additional cost for the bank. Not really additional cost because they are paying the same employee, right? It's fixed cost. But the argument there is that sustainable companies perform better. So you have a stronger company, a stronger client who will pay back your loan. That and for the company, actually, in Canada, when we do a loan, we require environmental report done by a third party, paid for by the customer. It is even standard that it's paid for. But they realize the benefit to them of all these things because they can be liable for cleanup. Financial reporting, I mentioned earlier quickly. It's no longer enough for just financial statements. There's now a phenomenon, just like what you see at the SEC, that companies are required to produce financial reports, sustainability reports. Because if you want to, if you want to promote what you're doing in terms of sustainability, then now it's being also producing sustainability reports. BPI, I know, produce a sustainability report. There are many organizations here, and accounting firms. Of course, they saw another money making opportunity. They actually audit this. They call it assurance, not an audit. So like Puma was the first to issue a sustainability report. So when it's assured or audited, there's more credibility. Right? So that's happening now. You can go to GRI is a global uh, reporting initiative. You can go to Singapore and Global Reporting Initiative. This is like the gap. This is the standards for preparing sustainability reports. If you want to get accredited, there's money here in the future. Remember, public companies are now required to produce sustainability reports. You want to become an accredited person to prepare sustainability reports. That's where to go. There's an office in Singapore. Even that has evolved. Now, beyond preparing two reports, some companies now are doing integrated report, one report, finance and sustainability combined. Again, for our CPAs, it's a new line of doing things. Ayala introduced the first sustainability integrated report here in the Philippines. Again, that's why our students have to be in the forefront of all this development, right? Because this will be the new job market. Any questions? We have 4 more minutes. Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. I have only two questions. First, were there any major evaluations of sustainable financing program currently, and what are the major findings and learnings? Second, how fast are we moving against our global markets?
Okay. So, real evaluation, WWF has a study, but there's no real. If you go to the website of the Global Alliance for Banking on Values, there's actually I did not show the slides. There's a study comparing the performance of sustainable banks against regular banks, and sustainable banks are ahead of the ball game. Okay, how fast we are? I think this month seems to be we are gaining traction in the Philippines. I think the next step is to develop a training program for bankers. That's where I am involved in. So hopefully within this year it will happen. Yes.
My question is somehow related to this question. Is I'm really curious about how effective all the actions that the companies that are participating into this. I want to know how effective it is. I mean, what's the effect to nature? What's the effect to the stakeholders? I mean, because a lot of companies, let's say, they spend a lot of the things, the natural resources. You know, we spend a lot, sometimes to the point of exploiting the natural resources. And then at the same time, we have the sustainability corporate social responsibility activity. I really want to know, aside from how fast we are, how effective are we in doing this?
Okay.
Because as we know, we are all aware that Antarctica is now. I mean, we see all the negative effects of the industrialization in the world right now, even globalization. So how effective are we, and how fast should we do it in order to somehow catch up with, you know, the depleting natural resources, depleting environment.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're too slow, right?
I believe so. Honestly, I'm sorry, but I think some of the things that the different private sectors or even the huge companies are doing right now, I don't know, but I feel it's minimal to what is actually happening in the world right now.
Yes, yes.
I think we should do something that's really something of mandatory. And also, while during the discussion earlier, I was thinking these are big banks or banks from different countries. If we study the demographics of the Philippines, the socioeconomic, let's say, distance, I mean, not all Filipinos there's a huge number of Filipinos that are not educated. huge number of Filipinos that, let's say, social economic status of D or E. Um, if you look at the Pasig River, a lot of people there are very poor, especially the slums. Um, it's good that the banks are doing this, and the people who have, let's say, social economic status of B, C, A, and above, we are all also educated. We can do something about it because we understand what's happening. But what about those people? I believe that the Filipinos mostly are influenced by brands that they use often,
Yes.
more often.
Yes.
The small brands, the little brands.
Yeah.
And if these brands really educate somehow to the point of reinforcing but not really reinforcing, I believe this will make it faster.
Yeah.
So I wanna know how I wanna know what are the up to what extent can we do to make it faster? How can we measure the effectivity of all the activities that we do while having the goal of handling it?
Thank you. Actually, we do have students here now, graduates, now graduates, who have taken that challenge, that trying not only the MBA program but different programs have taken the challenge of education, of bringing that education to that level. I completely agree. It's a lot of work. The banking industry alone cannot solve that. No, there are DNR, LGUs. There's a lot of that. This is a big project that we have to put together. It's going to be a work in progress. Sustainability is a journey. It's not a destination, right? So it will be a. I agree with you. Join us at AIM. Maybe you can help us put this together. Last question, please. Hmm. Yeah. I notice especially executive MBAs because they're working full time. No, we talk about something like this. They go back to work. They talk to their boss about it. Then the next class they tell me, some of them the boss liked it, some of the boss hated it. How can we do something? So it is almost they're applying it immediately. So it is actually it's I guess one company at a time, one person at a time. It will take a while. I have to go. I have another meeting. Thank you very much for spending your Saturday with us.
All right, thank you so much, Prof. Felipe. So, guys, the next would be our alumni sharing. But before we do that, we'll give everyone 5 minute break. So, there, you can go to the restroom first. Again, we have coffee and snacks outside. Be back by around 10:15 a.m. Thank you.
So clearly the difference in background. There are rich people, there are people who made themselves, who really saved the money to come here. They're scholars. There are people from other countries working for government, and they come here and they take the same classes and they share the same perspective. In terms of EMBA, there's a difference in career backgrounds. So, as Ava said, there are HR practitioners, IT practitioners, engineers, and somehow they have to find this common thread or a common spot where they can agree to disagree. And that's part of the conversation. And I think that's one of the things that I really like watching when it comes to listening into EMBA classes, because some of them, the average work experience in an EMBA class is 11 years. So imagine the wealth of experience that their classmates bring into the table, that if you're someone with only 4 years in HR trying to apply theories, and then someone with 11 years in HR telling you, no, that doesn't work in reality. So imagine the level of conversation that you have with your classmates. So I think that's the more, I mean, nationality is one thing, but I think the difference in background and experience makes the experience richer. So
Right, if I may add to that, during the elective term, we get to be classmates. Well, the MBAs, full time MBAs, get to be classmates with the executive MBAs. And it's also a very eye opening experience because, yes, here we are, the MBAs who are so good with coming up with all the strategies and cases, which may not necessarily be applicable to the real world. And here are the EMBAs who are, I mean, grounded, and they know what really works, and they have 11 years of work experience. And yes, it's a very good experience to be mentored by these executives because well, the average age of my batch was 26.
26.
Well, I was one of the older ones, but I had a classmate who was just 23, 24. Oh, thank you. So 23 or 24 who had the minimum requirement for job experience. And yeah, being mentored by the people with a lot of experience and learning with them and from them was really a good experience. Like it's like having a free um, consultation with the experts. And yeah, they have a different point of view. Again, as MBAs, for the first two terms, we were really trained to be very a bit bookish or theoretical, even though we're dealing with real life cases. The thing is, we have no way of really checking if the strategies, no matter how good they may seem, will really work. But they know because probably sometime in the past they must have done something very similar to it. So they can actually check if it's working or not. And there was, if I may also add again, we had a class with Professor Macaranas. It was reintegration in Asia. It focused on education, really. But the thing is, he invited in the class actual executives from universities, well, in Metro Manila. No, in the whole Philippines. So there were representatives from down, from Silliman University, I guess, or University Eastern Visayas, I guess. So the thing is, they sat down with us and they became members of each learning team. So they were distributed. And what we did as students was to come up with strategies. Well, first to elicit the problems of the universities, and then to come up with strategies, and then present it to them. For me, it was really a different experience. I mean, it's a real case, it's a live case, it's right in front of you. And they can normally, well, they can readily say, we don't have budget for that kind of a strategy. No, that's a good strategy, but the government will not allow that. CHED has a lot of issues. CHED has a lot of regulations. This will violate the CHED. I mean, in a normal case room, nobody, if, well, lucky if you have people from CHED, right? But if you don't have anyone from the university background, nobody could check if it's feasible or if it's viable. And if nobody checks that, you can just really close down the case. We're just okay, so this is now a good strategy. But with that kind of a classroom setup where you have the actual practitioners there, people can tell you no, it's not going to work. But of course, it's a struggle because you could always now come up with another strategy. Oh, how about if we do this? How about if we do that? And then we came up with, I think, more realistic strategies for their universities. And I hope they will be able to use it when they go back to wherever they're working.
Right.
I want to share something also. This was one of my last classes in EMBA, so there was electives that going to be offered to you. So one of the I think differentiation also of AIM, there had this elective called personal brand, which is I think very very good as the year ender because after everything, after the culmination of all the theories, the frameworks, and all the business strategies you're going to learn along the way, what's important is how do you now present yourself outside of AIM? Because while you know everything in your head, how do you actually convey the message that now you really are a product of AIM, not just a manager, but a leader? So that class is very very good. It's also one thing that the other schools don't offer. It's a pioneering class where they tell you and they really teach you how do you even manage your own social media accounts, as basic as that. And what kind of personal brand statement do you really want to convey when you attend interviews, when you talk to people? How do you carry yourself? Which I think helps in polishing who you really are. And that's very, very important, especially today in the digital times. And that's not something you can find in other schools. So, very, very good also.
Well, again, sorry. It's well in terms of pioneering. I think AIM is also about sustainability. Um, well, what you heard from Professor Calderon earlier, it's really something that you'd be expecting in all classes in AIM. So everybody gets to talk about sustainability, even in marketing, even in operations. Well, operations definitely. And it's really very crazy for me that you can fit in the concept of sustainability. Well, at first, I think it's one of the battle cries of AIM that really have to be triple bottom line managers. We don't just care about the profit, so we care about our people as managers and as leaders of the society, and we care about the planet because we care about sustainability. And you will see that in the thread of all the classes that are being offered in AIM. Of course, accounting maybe it's too it's too technical, but yeah, Professor Calderon was able to teach us sustainability in the language of business class. It was his first class with us. And other than that, probably even the marrying of marketing and finance. So we have professors here who are in the marketing field, but they're so adept with finance that they're so readily available to show you financials of your marketing efforts so they can give you actual tangible financial reporting for your marketing efforts, which is really very good for the marketers. I'm not a marketer, but for my marketing batchmates, they were really very happy because now they can actually measure the ROIs of whatever campaigns that they launch, and they really appreciated it. And I think he's coming back this year, Professor Richard Cruz, right?
I have one more. I just wanted to highlight. Dami naming good things na to say. In other schools, I also compared it. You will be here in AIM. You will be assigned an LT mentor, a learning team mentor, which makes a difference. This mentor is like your, since day one that you start, you have a go-to teacher or professor that you can ask anything, feedback about how you're doing and how you can improve. So again, that's another assistance that the school is providing so that you're guided, so that you won't let go, even if you're having a hard time. Because getting, being challenged by all of these numerous activities just sharpens you at the end of the day. But of course, you need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of push. You need additional materials to read or references, or how do I go about this? How do I write a good written analysis of a case? As basic as that, a mentor is assigned to you to help you and guide you. And every term, that mentor meets everybody in the learning team, and he or she gives you qualitative feedbacks from every teacher you've had so that you know how to improve the next time and to see your consistency also. So feedback is also provided. And I think Miss Anna, our program director, of course, is you can just go up the second floor and get a time and you can speak to her so that they can help you. So that's something that my other friends would have told me that they didn't experience when they went to other schools. They were navigating on their own. So apart from the good food every night, there's also great mentors and the parties with MBA, and there's a lot of karaoke also. That's one thing. Every after exam, the karaoke nila light na nila yung next room. There's karaoke already.
Hey, any? Yeah, sure.
It's just a curious question po. It's good to hear your great experiences. And now my curious question is that if there's one thing or anything na you'd wish to see or experience in AAM that AAM doesn't have yet, what is it?
Can you start? Well, you've compared schools.
Well, at least for EMBA, because for MBA they have a cross post program where you could actually be going to a Yale, etc. Yeah, I think that's one program that they have. For EMBA, you can also go to Yale, ESADE, etc., etc. But we were only given a week, the Global Network Week. So you can also do that apart from your Asian study tour. The only difference, and we hope that it could happen, is sana longer because 5 days is a little bit limited in terms of how much we still want to learn and from other schools. But I think hopefully in the future that program will be modified to make it a little bit more longer.